Alright guys, so we're gonna be making some cavatappi tonight, and went ahead and prepared a little bit ahead in the some of the ingredients. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have another bell pepper, roasted bell pepper, oiled, seasoned with salt and pepper to taste. Went a little bit more on the salty side, and then we have some garlic here. And you'll notice that there's plenty of oil on this. We're essentially going to roast this for the same amount as we're with the bell pepper, and then we're going to come back and dice it. So I went ahead and sliced it before. I'm going to try a little bit of a different technique rather than roasting the whole piece and then slicing it. I'm going to, when I open it up a little bit, makes it a little bit easier with the dicing after too. So this goes into the oven, 400 degrees, for as long as we take to cook our dish here. Okay, so we're gonna bring our water to a boil in the back, and we're gonna put a little bit of oil here in the middle, not a lot, because we're gonna be using pork. The pork has plenty of moisture and plenty of grease is going to carry us through. You'll see that the pan is pretty hot. See that? And you can see the crackling when you sprinkle some water on the oil. While the back starts to boil, I'm going to show you the noodle that we're using. We're using this sort of corkscrew noodle, which you'll see is perfect for dishes where you have a heavy cream base or you need to soak up some flavor. So as always, we're going to go in with our salt first, and then we're gonna pasta, and we're gonna make sure that we're stirring. Keep that going to a boil, and then you can reduce heat a little bit. And now we're gonna start with our sausage cook on this side. So right now we're baking. We're baking bell pepper and roasting, and while that's going, have about 15-18 minutes. Once this guy starts to really cook, we're going to break it up and add a little bit of shape. And you can imagine what you want to do here is you want to make sure that the chunks of the sausage, however you end up slicing or cutting or separating, is what you want to do is make sure that it's something that you would want to have as a topping in your pasta. So most are going to have really thinly sliced chili, just not a lot, just a little bit. But I'm going to make sure I take out all the seeds. And once we have that ready, that initial browning is going to start to happen now. Very hot. Let me just put that in there. Not a lot. And it's gonna maybe let it break it apart. Not quite there yet. You can see some of it kind of coming out. And you want to make sure that chili is really in there from the beginning. You can alternatively use as much spice as you like. I definitely don't recommend you over spice right off the bat with anything other than a little bit of chili, because unless you're sure of what everybody wants, maybe you're cooking for yourself and you have a little bit more leeway there. You don't want to make this overly spicy to the point where people just can't eat it. I'm gonna use a little help here for my knife. I don't want to have too small size. Don't put too much into your pan. Don't struggle, don't fight the ingredients. You know, the whole point is really to enjoy your time fighting. It's gonna take away from that. Go with it. The sausage wants to stay whole. It's gonna take a weird turn for you. You know, in the end, this is a mixed pasta dish. A lot of, you know, Hamburger Helper, and, you know, sort of those classic American dishes that were inspired from pasta mixes. You know, in the end, for me, it's about those ingredients being in the pan together, combining, letting the flavors really seep out of each ingredient. And really letting you know that in your nose and in your mouth and in your eyes and also in your ears. You can hear the sizzling. It's almost like a river running through. Maybe raindrops on the roof. In the end, it's a natural process, part of our world, and our senses really get a treat if we pay attention to things that we don't usually think of as sizzling sausage as a common noise. But it's really relaxing as you start to work it in. And you can see here, sausage starts to brown a little bit all around. The casing, what we're looking for is inside. You can take the casing out if you want. So we're gonna leave that in there. And you can see back here, that sweet spot of temperature is a little bit heavier than we wanted. Just gonna keep it going. We're gonna work with the foam. And our spoon here, just in case we're distracted. We're about 9 minutes in the oven on our bell pepper. So we're about 60% there. And what we're gonna look ahead for here is letting this sizzle some more in its own oil. Letting it really get that heat in there. Okay. We have some tomato paste, and we're gonna do something a little bit strange maybe, but we're gonna basically take some of that water from the pasta right into this pot. And there's quite a bit of grease, so we want to be careful that we don't get rid of all of it, but we're going to drain some out before we put some water in here. Otherwise, two things you may have an idea of what can happen. You know, we just need enough water to keep things moisture because of our taste, but I'm not going to do that quite yet. I'll let this simmer. I should say cook through. And once I feel comfortable with enough of the grease having done some of the cooking, then we're gonna get into a little bit more of the mixture and start that process. So we're gonna add tomato paste in about 3 minutes. We're gonna simmer and make it a little bit of a tomato mixture, some of the water from the pasta, and then by then we should be about 12 minutes in with our roasted bell pepper. So what you want to do is time it so that when the bell pepper comes out, you can immediately slice it and turn it into some smaller pieces, and you're going to bring that into this pan with the garlic as well. So you can't really start that until you're sure that everything's roasted, and we have about 7 more minutes for that. So we'll be patient with our ingredients, letting them cook and absorb all of that heat. And you can see here, this is really now starting to brown in its own grease. And you have some fairly large chunks, which is still where we want to be. I would say that's about the size you want for this. Not too small, not browned, where it gets lost in our filling. Once you can easily cut through with the spatula, kind of gives you a hint that it's almost done. So you want to get it to be maybe bite-sized. And you can see now where these guys are turning into smaller, evenly sized pieces. That's what we want. You don't want ground up sort of mixture. We want to have a little bit more substance in our sausage so people will find a piece and they're serving and feel it's a little bit of a treat. Maybe you look for some. Also, if you have somebody that's not quite into sausage but wants some of the pasta, makes it a little bit easier to pick out and sort of like pizza, you know, cross-share the toppings if you're okay cooking with them, but maybe you don't want to necessarily eat them. They'll still get the flavor benefit. And so here we go. We're at about 13 minutes with our bell pepper. It's not a very aggressive roast tonight. What we want to look for is for it to be softened, have our garlic be softened. There we go. Now we have a good split into all of our ingredients here. It's a great dish because it's very, very, very economical. Find the right corkscrew Cavatappi pasta goes a long, long way. And you can see here now where it's filling out very, very nicely. You can see here the noodle is pretty much where it's going to be in terms of size. And this guy is looking good. Over here we have a sausage that's really, really coming to its own. Everywhere we look is brown. We have a fairly consistent size for each piece, getting ever so smaller as we split into halves wherever we think we may be able to split. Again, this is really a preference. You can certainly cut ahead and slice these up ahead. I really enjoy sitting over a sizzling pan and listening and watching food transformed, so I don't mind slicing as we go. It's gonna release a lot of its oils in here. And so what we're gonna do in a few minutes is we're gonna go ahead and release some of this grease. And I'm gonna capture it in a cup here off camera. So once we have that, we're gonna add some tomato paste, and we're gonna prepare for the water from the pasta to be transferred over. Not a lot, just half a cup maybe. You can't go wrong with that. And then we're gonna start to make our base. So I'm gonna pour the grease out. So now that we've drained most of that grease, we're gonna take about a half a cup of this water rather. Just like that. I'm gonna use tomato paste. And we're gonna really get this in here. Mixture all around. And this pan is still very, very hot. You can see in the back. Just don't let our pasta stick. Have plenty of moisture and you should be fine. Keep cooking, keep cooking. And then we're gonna have the sausage mixture. Look at that beautiful tomato coated sausage. You can imagine the taste. Very, very rich. Classically, they say all over America, all over the United States, all over anywhere where American cooking has touched. I'm sure you've come across some pasta dishes, and obviously in other parts of the world, pasta is eaten many, many ways. And this is not in any way a comparison of what is better, but if you're into American pasta dishes, by American I mean sort of home cooking, a little bit faster preparation, really mixture of flavors, this is certainly going to fit that bill. So now that we got that going by, we're going to prepare for our bell peppers. And so I'm going to turn down the heat a little bit. I'm going to let this simmer while I bring out the bell pepper and prepare. Okay, so we have our bell pepper here and garlic in there. Go ahead and put that into the pot. Now we're going to mix this up. Get everything really cooked through. Look at that incredible color. I'll let this roast for a little bit. It's I should say bell pepper roast for a little bit here, just rest. And we're going to prepare our sauce now. By adding some cream. Of course, it cannot be a pasta dish without cream. And we have some garlic in here, garlic chunks in here. And I went ahead and diced them beforehand. They were still in one section, but nonetheless diced. And I did my best to make this easily break apart once it came out of the oven, but still kind of find that it sticks together until you really pull it apart. So our pasta is off heat, but it's ready to go. There's still plenty of moisture in there. So now let it stick. And you can see here the size of the noodle is pretty big compared to how we started. That's what we want. So we're gonna bring in our cream now, cream sauce. And all over. Cream's gonna cool, still on medium heat. It's gonna be, I would say, I don't know, maybe half a cup of sauce, cream sauce, maybe 3/4 of a cup, and it's gonna take a little bit of time to get warmed up again, but that's okay. We're coming in with our sausage, and this will get to simmering again in a fairly short amount of time, you'll see. Once you're going there, you don't want to overcook this, so be ready with a little bit of water. Some of the water from the pasta itself is going to come out as you start to mix, and so you really want to be sure that you don't starve any of this out of heat, but at the same time that you don't go too fast with the heat. So we're gonna add a little bit of butter, actually about 1.5 tablespoons, and be liberal with the butter on this. You already have a lot of cream, so it's gonna be very rich. But that's where you want to be. And again, you can start to see the simmering going, start to really sense the creaminess here coming into its own. And if you see the butter in there still whole, let the heat work through. We're not trying to smash things. We're trying to open them up. And with a large pan like this, maybe yours has a more vertical edge. You won't have as much sticking to the side. Let's see where we go with this. So now you can start to see some bubbling. That means a lot of heat is trapped underneath. Gonna bring in some pasta here. Be careful with the moisture. And there you go. Just bring it in. Don't need the extra water. Just gonna drain as you go. That water is actually important for this mix. And you see how we end up with very little extra water. And now you really just combine until you get a thickness and a mixture that you like. The colors are absolutely wonderful, and you can see here where the sausage, the noodles, the bell peppers, the sauce, there's a chili presence in there, which is very subtle, but it's in there. Some garlic. You can really see this coming to its own. So what you want to do is you want to really fold this over until some of that steam starts to give off the moisture, and the cooling effect starts to take over as we continue to cook. Okay. And there we go. And there we have it. Now this is a very, very hearty dinner. You will absolutely like the effect this has on your mouth and your taste buds and your senses. And then you can probably relax and enjoy a nice evening with a full belly full of pasta. And you can take your nap, maybe go to sleep, and really enjoy another dinner at home, and be happy that you were able to enjoy such a thing coming together. And then you spend some time making it for yourself, for your friends, your family, your loved ones, and hopefully they enjoy it too. So I wish I could cook for all of you, but I can't. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and the best I can do is show you what I made tonight and invite you to do something similar. Tell me how it turns out. Thanks.